So guys, Daemonxel back again with another EVE Frontier video. I just got off the line. We just had a wonderful interview. CCP Goodfella and CCP Overload answering my questions, answering your questions. Let's talk about it. All right, so before we jump into that interview, like always, the shameless plug, that's right, we are in a new cycle. So we are also in a free player time period, which is going to start tomorrow on the 17th, unless this video comes out tomorrow. But remember, if you do decide you like the game, you want to move forward, become a founder, play the game fully and not just during these free week cycles, in the description below is the link to my founders referral code. Just pop that in. Helps me out with the Grace leaderboard, and I would really appreciate it. And that is the plug. So, without further ado, let's get these questions answered. First of all, I do want to say thank you for sitting down with me for this interview. I honestly didn't know it was that easy to get you guys on. I'm usually just poking fun at you guys in the chat. I have some PTSD when it comes to dealing with devs because I covered EVE Echoes for a long time, and there was NetEase devs there, and that's where I got the PTSD from it. So I didn't know it was that easy just reaching out and talking to you guys.
Oh, no, we are easy. We enjoy this. You're doing us a favor.
Yeah.
Good vibes only.
Okay, so
even if you criticize us in a constructive way, we'd be happy to discuss it. Just keep that in mind. That is just perfectly acceptable.
Okay, and those who are watching this video now, again, I am sitting with CCP Goodfella and CCP Overload for this interview. Your questions, my questions. We're going to see how much we can hold their feet to the fire. So there are some. These questions are submitted. There is a little bit of chaos because there's no actual order to these questions, so we might be bouncing back and forth. But I tried to organize them a little bit where I want them. But we're going to just start off. There is 2 questions because of the big announcement that the move from Ethereum over to SWI, but there is only 2 questions about that. Nothing huge in depth. One was made, says, what made the team decide to make the switch from Ethereum Redstone to SWI?
So this is not a switch or a decision that we took lightly, of course. But if I can sort of maybe talk about using analogies, it kind of helps to kind of explain it. And this isn't quite an apples to apples comparison, of course, so take it with a grain of salt, but I think it does help to kind of explain things. If you think of like the different evolutions of different blockchains throughout the history of the tech, you have first generation ones like Bitcoin. It's very kind of slow, it's expensive to use, it's very single purpose. Then you get the next generation, which is things like Ethereum, which now you have the introduction of the Ethereum virtual machine, the ability to run and execute code, and all the other things that the blockchain can deliver. But it was designed and sort of developed and mostly spec'd out quite a while ago, still in the early days of blockchain. SWI is a lot more modern, and it's kind of like going from Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal Engine 5. And again, not an apples to apples comparison, but bear with me. You can do a lot of things in Unreal 3, which you can do in Unreal 5. It just takes a lot more development firepower to kind of build the systems yourself. Whereas Unreal Engine 5 might have these things built in libraries and so on. And SWI essentially does that. It unlocks the ability for us to come along and use structures within that environment that don't exist natively in Ethereum that we have to essentially rebuild ourselves on top of. And this is something that we find ourselves doing a lot of the time anyway. So when we looked at the tech, it allows us to unlock developer velocity. It would be the sort of the buzzword terms. It lets you develop what you want to develop faster and more efficiently. So that's the kind of the crux of it.
Okay. And then the follow-up question that is,
if I
go ahead.
can add just, I think Overload put it very well. What we are also excited about is to have such a hands-on partner with us now, and that's where we'll get a lot of benefits from it as well. the Ethereum ecosystem is awesome, and thanks to the Ethereum ecosystem, Frontier has gotten this far, and now we're taking the next step. But what we get is a plugin of just a big team that is super excited about Frontier, to a point where they've written like memos, which is almost publicly shareable, Overload, I would say, about why Frontier makes sense. And when we have now to such a hands-on partner, things like dev environment, builder docs, builder examples, hackathons become easier for us to deliver to a higher quality going forward as well, which is, I think, a great benefit.
With their level of excitement jumping into the project, can we expect to see a SWE tribe out there at some point along with CCP?
Yeah, probably. I don't think it won't be like official, like in the same way that ours is, of course. But we already see a bit of an uptick from the SWE community. The SWE team have their own community team and their own community projects, and they've hosted a couple of game events. One of them they did last week, which included people playing Frontier. So they're pretty enthusiastic about it as well. And just to sort of play off of what Goodfella mentioned, we had some of their engineers and some of their sort of more business-oriented folk over visiting the office a while back before we made the announcement. And there's something exciting about having these conversations with people who you can see that they are also enthusiastic and excited about it. It's not just something that you do for the sake of it. It's something that you do because you want to do it and you're excited about what it can bring. And the SWE guys seem to feel like that, at least to me. And the fact that they've jumped in pretty heads first and are playing and encouraging their community members to play as well, I think is a great sign.
Great. The next question about the SWE is, if you were just a player, right, not building dApps, you don't really touch the building side at all. Will you have any front side interaction with SWE, or is it purely like in the back end, with the refineries and stuff like that, kind of just working on the back end?
Yeah, it should be the same as it is now. Like our design ethos is that it's part of the tech stack. It enables us to do different things and unlock different types of gameplay, like custom logic for things like gate networks. And of course, we want to expand on that in the future. Those of you who want to delve into that world, just like if you're coming from other games, like if you want to make mods, you can do that. If you want to be a consumer of mods, you can do that. If you want to play the vanilla game, you can do that. There's no right or wrong version. So you're not going to be forced to do it by any stretch of the matter. Those of you who want to, then you'll find it's a lot easier to interact with and use as well. I'm told it's very similar to Rust. And in the programming world, apparently this is a big deal. So take that. I don't know Rust. I'm not a programmer, but they tell me it's good.
Okay. Yeah, and I think I'm a bit like Overload. I'm told it's good. But jokes aside, there's obviously some transition cost for builders, and we realize that. But what they will see once they have learned that what they are learning is a great language that will make them go faster in the long run. That's what all of our engineers have come to a conclusion of after they look into the move language. So that is exciting. Like, we recognize there's a transition cost, but we promise it will pay dividends in the future.
Great. When you guys first announced eFrontier, and the announcement that you were going to be using this on crypto blockchain smart contract technology, were you expecting such a negative backlash from the EVE community as a whole?
So the EVE community, of which I come from, I'm a long-time EVE online player, coming up in 18 years, have been hostile to a number of different things. One of them, of course, being blockchain, which is why if you go back and look at the sort of announcement cadence of eFrontier, the very first thing we did was come out and say, hey, we're working on a project that has blockchain in it. And then we went through and started talking about the game. And the reason we wanted to do that was we wanted to just be open and upfront about it. Like, we're not trying to hide it. We believe that it can unlock new types of gameplay, and we're building a game with that as part of the tech stack. But most importantly, we're building a game. We're not building a blockchain project for the sake of it. It is a game first and foremost. But that being said, we've seen numerous other attempts across the industry, either to kind of hide it or obfuscate it or tell people later. And we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're as open and transparent as we can. The community, we want them to trust us as much as possible. And so that's why we're transparent. It's why we're doing this development so much out in the open. We could still be in our own rooms kind of working on this quietly in the background, but we did these phases when it was Project Awakening. We do founder access now. We do these free trials because we want people to get in, try it when it's still very much a work in progress. Give us feedback. Let us hear what you like, what you don't like, what is hard, what is too easy, what is fun, what is not fun, what is exciting, what is dull. Because with that, we can actually kind of cook a better game rather than just listening to only ourselves.
And so the question is related to the announcement of Frontier since the beginning, right?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So I have been working on Frontier since the beginning, and CCP is very in tune with the EVE community in terms of like what is internally communicated, and the reaction is very similar to how the EVE community will react, which I think is a good thing. So we announced this internally first, and people had concerns, understandably. We announced it to the EVE community. The EVE community had concerns, understandably. But then, a bit to what Overload was saying, and it's measured for me, like the big moments are the FanFest moments. Like first we said like NFT means not for tranquility, and we were like very small. And then it was a bit bigger at the next FanFest, and then the FanFest now was like a moment in time. We were like on a secondary stage in a packed hall, a lot of press interviews as well. And people understood at that point in time what we're trying to create, and they get it. And same has been for CCP as well. Once people at CCP see that we're trying to create a cool game, they are just super excited about it as well. And same goes for the community. They just want to know that we're trying to create cool stuff and not drinking Kool-Aid on whatever technological there is, or trends, whatever.
All right, so we're going to move away from the technical aspects of Squeeze, so then we're going to talk about the game because I love the game. I'm having a blast in it, and I've been
like a top tier skill, unlike CCP Jötunn. Like we can just see it in the Creation Connected.
There's
no skill issue there.
I do believe there was a question submitted about there was a friend that they've noticed the skill that Overload has when he plays. They want to know how they could tell their friend to get to the same level of skill play and not die 5 minutes into the game.
This is a very enlightened question. The asker must be truly smart and probably very handsome as well, I would imagine.
Well liked by the community, I believe.
I believe so. I would hope so. My answer to that and to the friend of the answer would just be to get good. It's not much else you can do. Just stop being bad, be good.
It's a motivational poster.
Get in the office. CCP Overload says, stop being bad, be good.
Talent when talent work hard. CCP Overload. Skills.
There should be a banner that's made and just put in his office. With the release of the roadmap and now a clear direction for each cycle up through cycle 6, what are you guys most looking forward to see in the community's hands for testing? Like the reaction from the community. Like what is the one specific thing that you guys are really excited for?
You know, first on this one, Goodfella?
Do I need to choose one of the babies? Like that is what I'm being.
You just shoot some of your children.
So, like there are things I'm choosing in my head between. Character progression was like the first answer I had when I was thinking. That is more long-term and won't be as like tangible for people, but we need to get that right in the beginning, to some extent, for the longevity of Frontier. Then I was thinking maybe you should answer something more short-term, and that makes like WASD controls makes sense as an answer. And the third thing, and then I start thinking about what are you most excited about personally? CCP Goodfella. And then I started thinking about the build mode updates and things like that. So I think that is what I'm most excited about, because that's me personally speaking. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree. In the near term, the industry changes. I'm actually quite excited about, especially the continuous industry that will come in. I think late November, I think, is current plan for that one. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that in and what it can do with the upcoming changes to base building as well. WASD controls, I think, are going to be an absolute hoot. Like, I am super looking forward to adding in some of the cool stuff that you can do with that, and seeing, like, I imagine there's going to be some fun things like we talked about in the roadmap stream, like people building maybe like a race course type thing to pilot through. So I'm looking forward to seeing this kind of stuff coming. Like, so not just the individual things, but how they interact together.
Gotcha. I definitely see a lot of community projects once these are fully integrated into the game, like a community events, like a cannonball run race or something like that.
Yeah.
So cycle 1s through 6 are all happening in this era. We are currently in era 6 right now. What can we expect to see? I know this. I know you guys can't really talk about it, but what can we expect to see in era 7? And what I mean by this is there was a huge jump as far as the UI and gameplay mechanics wise from era 4 into era 5, and then again into era 6. Can we expect to see a similar jump in mechanics and systems when we move to era 7?
It would be speculative at this point. The roadmap kind of covers up to the end. Like, of course, there's more stuff that'll coming later. That's not the end, and likely we will swap to some sort of new era or version. You'll notice like the major versions kind of go up slower, and these sub versions, the cycles go up a little bit quicker. So it just depends, really. Like, if we have something big that really we want to sort of set the game up in a different way, like we did between eras, then that's what will happen. But we'll definitely make sure we keep the community involved with the plans as we get closer to, into era, cycle 5 and 6 of what's coming after.
Okay.
I think in general, like, I think the answer is it depends how frequently you play. And to elaborate on that, like what we're trying to do now is to get stuff out as quickly as possible. So build mode coming, and I think that's worth calling out. As I mentioned, is that like, we know we started cycle 3 with not as much fireworks as we would want to do. We're a bit just aligning now start of cycles with new releases as well. There's a very juicy package coming 2 weeks from now. Like ideally it would have been at the beginning of the cycle. It just isn't the case, but there's a lot of cool stuff coming in the 29th release. Okay, but back to your question. We're trying to get stuff out as quickly as possible and then build on top of it. So if you play Frontier daily, you're going to see it progress over time. But it's a bit like maybe, to use a very extreme example, watching a kid grow up. You don't suddenly notice that it is 160 centimeters or the shoe size has grown, but it does happen over time. Of course, the change to Frontier will be more clear than, at least hope, than a kid growing up over a 7-year period. But the people that maybe come in and then check it out 3 months later will see more of a distinct change every time they log in and the people logging in every day, because we're trying to build it with founders that are playing every day, giving us feedback on how to improve it.
Great.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. Makes perfect sense. So, like, thinks of the analogy of, a frog jumping in a boiling pot of water. It's going to jump right out, but if you slowly boil it, it's not going to notice.
Yes.
I forget which movie I saw that from, but yeah.
We are trying to make the frog happy.
Yes.
So we are
Oil them in something nice.
Yes.
These next 2 questions have been submitted, so these are kind of critiques. The first one is, the progress over Era 6 has been slow in terms of both bug fixes and new features. Was this expected by CCP, and what is being put in place to ensure a higher velocity and release cadence over the rest of Era 6 and into the future?
Yeah, to a certain extent, it's sort of part and parcel of game development. So when we launch an era, like we've essentially built up a bunch of stuff to make a bunch of big changes, and that takes a lot of time. So in the period just before the content going out into the live game tends to drop off as we kind of focus more and more and more on what's going out into the next release. Then once the big release is out, there will be some stuff that is planned and kind of doesn't go into the very start of the release, but comes in within a couple of weeks or months. But then after that stuff is out, the teams move back into more of like an exploration and planning stage to plan out the next big cycle. And I don't mean like our 6-week cycles. I mean like the actual just development cycle. So they go through exploration. They sort of frame those ideas within the context of the game and our processes and what we need across all the different teams. They then take that into pre-production to actually map it out into like how we're going to build this, what chunks are going to be built and released at what times, and how it all works together. And then they go into production. So when we released this era, the cycle 1, that was just in June. So you had a lot of work coming up into that. Then it's summer, a lot of people take vacations, spend time with families and stuff like that. So naturally there's a bit of a lull. And then when people come back, we're straight into exploration, pre-production and things. And while you're doing exploration and pre-production, very little sort of stuff is making its way out because we're focused on planning the longer chunk. And the stuff that's going to come out of that plan is what you saw in the roadmap stream. Like this is all stuff that we're presenting is things that have been scoped out, gone through pre-production, and are in various stages of development in the pipeline. So it's kind of natural to expect a little bit of a lull while we're doing that because we have to focus on planning for the future instead of just existing in the now. But we also want to make sure that we don't leave you without too much content for too long, which is why when this stuff starts to get developed, we start to be able to essentially bring it out and test it earlier than if we kept it all the way till the end. A good example of this is the flight controls. You know, a very early version is going to be prototyped and tested and available for you guys to play and experiment with. And that'll be great feedback. And that's just part of the development cycle. It's not expected to be the end of the development of those tools. It's expected to be continuing for quite a bit longer, but we're aiming to get it out so you can try it. So it is just part of game development, essentially. I know sometimes it feels like there's not a huge amount going on, but that's because we're planning so that we can get you more stuff in a coordinated fashion that is good and fun to play with.
Yeah, but I think all of the spot on. But what I would like to add is that we have been too slow. I think that is just, we want to speed up. And one of the ways that we are trying to speed up, like Ola talked about, is that trying to get it earlier into players' hands instead of overthinking it ourselves. And there was just not optimal organization, to be very transparent, during the summer. And we're kind of paying that debt right now. But what they will see now is that there's good plans coming up ahead with way more frequent releases.
I was very excited when I during that roadmap stream when we get to see all the things you guys have planned for us. Another question that was submitted was, why is it that there are wipes happening for cycles, which essentially makes us redo the early game where we have to be so it makes us redo the early game to get to where we will be experiencing the new features rather than just simply patching these features into the game currently so they can immediately start stress testing and bug finding?
Yeah, because we don't have a proper progression system yet. We don't have the economy kind of constructed sufficiently already because we are not on mainnet yet. So there are like multiple different, and because it's still good for people to experiment, for us to experiment, people to come try it out, etc. Like the game just isn't ready for perpetuity. What we are doing, however, like we recognize that some people actually do it like this, the reset and coming back. But I think also more people are now coming to the thing like, I don't want to do the same stuff again to get to a place. So I recognize that. What we're doing in December is we're going to increase the length, so we have 3 months, and then we're going to see how people enjoy that. I don't know if you have anything to add, Overload.
No, but just that you will see a lot more stuff getting patched in, new content coming in during the cycles for the next while. Like Goodfella mentioned, there's a a pretty significant content patch coming in a couple of weeks, 29th of October. We'll get some more details for you guys in a little bit, but that's going to be things like the industry and sort of the part of the WSD controls and things like that. So yeah, we are going to be doing that, a bit more of that. We just have to be a bit more careful because sometimes, I mean, this kind of makes logical sense. It's sometimes easier for certain things to start with a nice clean slate than have to try and fit it into something that's already going. It sort of swings and roundabouts. Sometimes that's worse, sometimes that's better. And like Goodfella mentioned, because our progression system is getting tweaked and changed quite often, it's actually very beneficial. And there's a pretty good blog on our website about how we use data. This is obviously just a very, very small example of a portion of the data that we're generating and consuming and analyzing, but these things do provide value for us as well.
Gotcha. I will say that we as a community are definitely getting really good at getting out of that starter system. I think we got it down to, I think one person in REAP got it down to about 15 minutes that they were able to get out of that starting system.
Someone should do like a speedrun competition. Like you have to film it from new character creation until jumping out of the starter system. And I don't know, maybe we could do that and give a prize or something like that. I'll have to speak with the community team. That seems a good idea.
Give grace.
What's that, sorry?
Can't we do it and give grace, Overload?
We can do whatever the heck we want. Like,
let's do it.
All right, we'll do something like that. Like, I'll message the community team, and be like, hey, make a speedrunning competition.
Let's make it happen.
Okay.
We don't need to have it too complicated, but it's a cool idea.
Yeah.
The next was, I know when we saw the roadmap, and I know you guys said that there's a content patch now coming in 2 weeks. Can you, it was supposed to be part and parcel with the kickoff of Cycle 3. Can you give us any information about the event that was supposed to happen at the kickoff for these 2 new ships?
So it is, we don't want to go into too much detail, and that is intended. The event, I got a message into this 12 minutes into the stream, is live now.
It's live now. Okay.
Yes. So there was some hiccups in the beginning, but I think we are now live. So the rest will be discovered in other ways. And I'm not trying to be cheeky. It's just that is the way.
Kind of like the cryptic keeper messages that we have to solve.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, it should be Overload. You can confirm if I'm off the rails, but
I trust what you said. I'm writing about the speedrunning competition to the people that will set it up. It's happening live.
Nice.
Okay. This next question is from one of our mainstays on the official Discord, Diddy, and he wants to know, when we get into, I believe it's Cycle 4, where we get to start playing around with clones and clone customization, will there be an option? Sorry, this is just silly. Will there be an option for a fat or overweight clone, as well as ship skins, preferably hot pink? This is directly from him.
Yeah, all good. There are no stupid questions when it comes to the Frontier. I'm just thinking how to answer it. We are not rushing to do shipskins. I'll say that. Number one. Number two, the people on the Frontier have been trying to survive and die for a long time. I don't think humanity will get to the top of the Maslow pyramid hierarchy of needs anytime soon to be able to worry about pink skins. I can put it that way. And when it comes to clones, then honestly, just a good question to ask. Like, are clones, you think about the world of Frontier, are they like slim and fat, or do they have different purposes? Like I said, they're not at the top of the hierarchy of needs just yet.
Yeah.
They're different size of clones for different things.
Well, what's that like famous physics example about like assume a spherical cow in a vacuum? So maybe we have like spherical clones in a vacuum instead.
We need to punt this question to CCP Maximum Cats.
Yes, this is very much Maximum Cats.
Well, a good question. Like I said, all questions are valid, critical questions and everything. We are here to discuss things.
Okay. Do you guys think that the problems that were plaguing the Mission Hub site, both in-game and the website that persisted through cycle 1 and 2, have now been solved and then basically fixed moving forward into cycle 3 and beyond?
They are, so again, on being transparent, we, like Goodfella mentioned, things were a little bit not as organized as they should have been over the summer period, and we had committed to getting the Mission Hub out with the launch, so it was rushed, and it meant that things weren't functioning as intended, and it's really bitten us in the ass trying to sort of change the engine on a car while you're driving down the highway at 80 miles an hour. It has been an absolute nightmare. We've also just not had the resources on it because we've been in pre-production and exploration and things like that. So it's been very difficult and slow to iterate on. We're aware of this. We know that we could have, should have, and must do better with that. So this is why we're awarding everyone all the grace being automatically converted for cycle 1. We're just going through and doing it. We are going to be basically slimming down the missions to avoid us having to do these sort of reconciliations after the end of the cycle. It adds overhead that is just causing more trouble. So cycle 3 and going forward, it should get smoother and smoother. We know it's not, I'm not going to sit down and tell you, hey, yeah, it's perfect, it's fixed now. There's still going to be some issues. We're still working on it. We kind of made this problem for ourselves and we're kind of fixing it now.
We've seen that from the roadmap in Cycle 4, we are going to be introduced to the whole clone experience. During the stream that you guys had with Maximum Cats, when he talked about the golden path and diving into the past for the expedition loop and bringing back stacks and stuff like that, will we be able to try that mode in Cycle 4 at some point, or is that further on down the road?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah. We've seen that in Cycle 4, we'll be introduced to the clone experience. During this cycle, will we get a chance to try out that mode that was spoken about previously with Maximum Cats, about diving into the past? I think it was called the Expedition Loop, and bringing back those things called stacks?
No.
Okay.
I will not be in Cycle 4. I mean, like, it's great to hear people are excited about it, but that is not in Cycle 4.
Okay. This next one was submitted by a Vulture member, Conrad Kurtz, and I'm not sure if you guys have been following the community at all. Vulture, this past cycle, has been going on a tear, just structure bashing everyone out there. They wanted me to ask if you plan to do anything about picking up the reinforced structures in Cycle 3. He goes on and says, I think sieging base fights is slated for Cycle 5, but it would be cool to know if this basic problem was addressed to encourage more interaction in Cycle 3.
We have a number of pretty substantial changes for base building coming up, and that includes things like, just to use the terms that are being currently used, reinforcement and destruction and things like that. The team that's kind of working on that and redesigning it, they're redesigning it from first principles, as it were. So rather than inheriting mechanics, which was great to allow us to test stuff and get things moving, we're essentially looking at this like, how would we like it to exist in the frontier? And that's what we're sort of transitioning it into. So we're not doing too much revision on the current system because we're making one to replace it.
Sure.
But yeah, like Overload is talking about the attack and defense is on our radar. We know it isn't. But as you were talking, I just started thinking if there's any small changes we want to do just to learn and get feedback from the community on the direction. Because like we recognize it's like a prototype at the moment. And we have our plan in Cycle 4 to address it. Like that is concrete, and I think we talked about it in the roadmap stream. So nothing planned currently for cycle 3. But as I mentioned also in the stream, there is this like quality of life, balance updates, economy updates that we want to do regularly if we see any small wins based on community feedback. So maybe there's something there that we want to do to help us understand the future and where we want to take things, not to just change for change's sake, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So that it got me thinking. This is good. These are good questions. I'm gonna start the conversation.
Yeah, like,
Making us think.
like I try to get out there and touch every aspect of the community to get every little branch out.
But just promise to listen and see if there are, because I find that interesting.
Okay. We noticed that in one of the last patches in cycle 2, that the corporation costs have reduced from 1 million lux down to 400,000 lux, and it looks like it's that way again in cycle 3. Is it going to be that moving forward through all the upcoming cycles to that reduced price for starting a tribe?
We don't have any plans to put it back up right now or reduce it further. Of course, as Goodfella says, we may look into things and change things. We decided after looking at the data that the cost to effort, based on the fact that, especially if we're resetting the world quite often, we're taking that money that you've earned up with your feral data and then just deleting it and saying do it again. It is a bit of a grind, and we wanted to encourage more people to be in tribes and to create tribes and be with grouping up. So we decided to just lower the barrier of entry for now.
Okay. Next one is nowhere in the roadmap did it show what you guys talked about earlier of the modular ship system, which where we can put like shielding or armor on one side, guns on another, and it kind of works hand in hand with the WASD. And I know we're just going to be testing the WSD. But do you have a loose timeline in the future where we might be able to get our hands on that to test that aspect of it out?
Yes. So what you're talking about there is the okay. From my perspective, it's more what I call topological fitting. So it's not about that you assemble a ship out of different components and then you have like a weird ship, but it's more that the right side you can equip it with armor and the left side you can equip it with turrets, and then you can steer the ship to shoot and then steer it back to have armor. Do we have common understanding, or
Yes.
do you? Okay. We want to do it. Nailing down the controls is like a precursor to be able to do it, and then we're working on another precursor which is called the core ship stats, which is next up. Basically, what are the different elements that make up a ship in Frontier? Like we have now the prototype of the hull, armor, etc., a shield. I don't think we necessarily should just commit to that blindly without just taking a bit of a stab at like what cool attributes make up a ship in Frontier, and that's something actually worth brainstorming with the community.
Awesome.
So there are these like prerequisites we need to be able to do before we can tackle topological fitting. So you're looking at the timeline after March next year, just to be very transparent. It is on the list. We want to do it. We aren't ready to do it.
Yeah, you can see the first steps that Goodfella mentions in our timeline. Like you can see that we have the flight controls and like the movement model of the ships, and then and I think cycle 5 or 6, I can't remember off the top of my head, we have like core ship stats are mentioned, because like we're taking some of the fundamental core things for the ships, and these lead forward into more advanced kind of when you think about like topological fitting, as Goodfella calls it.
Awesome. This one was specifically submitted, but I feel the pain of the entire community on this one. In regards to Rift 0020, we noticed that last cycle there was something introduced called defiled crude matter within these, but nothing was ever spoken about. So they want to know what's being done with the site itself. What can they expect the defiled crude? When can they expect the defiled crude to be usable?
This is I give you explicit permission, dear viewers, to go and ping CCP Brooder on this one on Discord, and maybe he will tell you, but I don't suspect he will. There's some things that are supposed to be still mysterious.
Okay.
Let me follow up on that as well. Sorry, I'm just making. This is it's a workshop we have here. It's not a stream.
There's threads being made. I'm watching them as well. We've already made a couple of threads about things we've talked about, so you can be happy that these are pretty good questions. They're provoking discussion and thought within the company. So
that's the whole point of this reach out, to get in touch. So this one got kind of, I guess, put down in the shuffle. It's kind of a sweet question, but not really. They just want to know, under the new movement schema, the new language, would there be a chance for remote fueling modules and ways to tow other players when they're in trouble?
We have definitely explored this, and we'll continue to explore this concept.
Okay. And this was kind of like a follow-up because we're talking about.
I love it personally. Like, just quickly on that one, I can't think of anything more Frontier than having to like escort your tanker, kind of like Mad Max with the giant fuel rig.
Yes.
Or like going out to rescue people, kind of like the fuel rats from Elite Dangerous and stuff like that. And a lot of other people internally are excited about that kind of stuff as well. So yeah, that's something. There's nothing planned at the moment. I'll just say that up front. But yes, this kind of stuff is stuff that we definitely want to consider, think about, and possibly do.
So, with that one question, we talked about towing. This one, someone submitted, and I thought it was just fantastic. Will tractor beams be introduced into EF as to the same degree as cutting lasers? In other words, can you tractor some poor soul into another player with collision damage, or have multiple ships with tractor beams rip a player's ship apart?
That would be fun. I mean, maybe not for the person being tractor beamed. Maybe it'd be better if it was more like when the Millennium Falcon gets caught in the tractor beam at the Death Star, and like if you have some sort of big monolithic thing, you can do that. That's a cool idea. I'll pass that on to some of the game designers.
Like the prerequisites to that would be updates to the physics engine, just to explain, and topological fitting. So it sounds like a very cool thing in the future. It's just not something we could do yet because there are other things we need to do before even being able to address it. But we love the idea. It's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. This question was submitted from a fellow REAP member, Loppy. If those of you remember, he was the crazy madman in Cycle 1 that put out the huge amount of gates that are out there. His specific question are where. Yes, he's the gate king. His specific question was, where are my points? He says, why did they? I think he's talking about Grace. He says, why did they show a gate ranking and then never mention it again? And how are they going to make the game feel good if they keep decreasing mobility in the hopes that fuel usage goes up? In other words, he's talking about jump distances, ship ranges, gate distances, and stuff like that.
So, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say on the first one, if there's a discrepancy, just pop in a support ticket with our GMs, have them mention my name, and see what we can do. But I need a bit more detail. I don't want to necessarily comment on someone's like tickets on a stream. On the gate thing, I don't know if maybe Goodfella, you want to take that one.
Like the interesting thing there is the balance between a 2 or 3 month cycle that we know that ends, and then thinking about it for the future. And that's just, I don't have a clear answer there, except that like creating a Stargate and jumping between systems should be a massive achievement that is not just spanned around. We still want people to be able to give feedback to it right now on all the mechanics and exploit it, and so we can learn as much as possible. But finding the balance between simulating just over a 2 month period and then trying to have understanding for how it will play out over a 2-decade period is extremely tricky, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like the world of Frontier's 20,000 star systems, that will not be conquered or visited when we go live in a short time period.
it's going to be like about 100,000 systems, right? When it goes live.
It's supposed to feel massive.
Yes, it's supposed to feel massive. So if you can jump all over the world, if you can build gate network all over the world, fine. When you're trying to speedrun through the universe to get feedback on the different sites and things like that over a short period of time. But in the future, like you need to work hard daily with others to discover parts of space in Frontier.
Gotcha. So as we've seen with other EVE games, Overload, I'm sure in your 18 years of playing EVE Online, you have come across this. Scamming is, in particular, somewhat of a treasured pastime, I guess, in EVE Online. But when we are talking about EVE Frontier, we're now talking with blockchain technology, crypto, and actual assets that are moved to wallets. How are you guys going to address that in EVE Frontier now that real life currency and assets on the chain is now possibly be affected? How is there going to be mechanics to protect a player's wallet besides common sense?
Well, common sense obviously is a standard, but this is a complicated one that we probably can't give a full answer to because, quite simply, it's not really known yet how it will look in the end. But it really depends how you want to think about it. When something is decentralized as well, there's literally nothing we can do because we don't control your assets. It is yours. And if you do something incorrectly with it, be it you got social engineered or you went out, like you'll notice even now if you open up a smart storage unit and go to the DApp, for example, there's a big border around it telling you specifically that you're outside of sort of the safe zone because we can't really control what's there. So there will be a certain amount of like education, and you need to be aware what you're stepping into. The same way that if you go to a casino, there's no one going to stop you from gambling away money that you need for something and put yourself in dire financial straits. In fact, it happens all the time. It's not great, but it happens, and people should be free to make their own decisions. We're not trying to sort of baby people. We want people to be able to, when there's no risk, there's no reward. It's hard to really kind of put this down to a fine line of saying like how will you protect them, because you could argue, if we use EVE as an example, that if I've scammed someone out of say like 250 billion-isk worth of Plex that they've just swiped a credit card for, you're essentially doing the same thing, but there's just one extra step in the middle. It's like where do you draw that line? Where does it become a slippery slope? So I know this is a bit of a non-answer, but that's pretty much because there isn't really a possible answer to that question yet.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's been scams and things in EVE Online for a 20-year period. That is just ongoing work. What we can say is that, like, if you were stupid, that's kind of on you. That's just how life is. Obviously, we don't want like some exploits in code or whatever to be that thing. We recognize that. We have the Sweet team totally agreeing with us on it. We recognize it, but that's just like ongoing work on like simulating contracts, validating third-party or like third-party things, making sure that the user knows that he is entering an ecosystem that is more the Wild West, everything around that. We will do best effort in making Frontier safe Wild West, if that makes sense.
I had it told to me by one of my builder friends that said that when we do move to SWE, it actually might be more secure because of their, I think it's called the ZK login system that they use to authenticate wallets. So I know there's third-party sites out there that ask for wallet access, and it's just to verify who you are and who your character is, so you can go off of your data. But they told me that once we move to SWE, it's going to be a lot more secure that way.
Yeah, that's actually a really good example. Like we were working on account abstraction, as it's known. We've kind of introduced just yesterday, actually, essentially a proto version of account abstraction so that you can log in on different computers and have your wallet there. You don't have to worry about losing it or having to re-import it every time you use a new computer. We introduced that yesterday. That kind of is a pseudo version of pure account abstraction. We have stopped development on the actual implementation of account abstraction on the Ethereum ecosystem because we're moving to Sui, and that is one of the great examples of something that it gives us out of the box that we don't have to build a system for. So yeah, great example.
Okay. This question I think you both are going to enjoy because I know you both love the building aspect of eFrontier. When can we expect to see new smart structures? Currently, we have in the game, we have gates, turrets, and SSUs to write smart contracts for. Are there any plans to introduce new structures? And they say expand the functionality of the current 3 that we have. I do remember way back when I think it might have been Era 4 when you guys were talking about the future that there was a possibility of putting billboards up and stuff like that. I know as a content creator, I'm looking forward to that. I'll be making billboards to advertise the channel and stuff like that. But are there plans for more than these 3 structures currently?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's a 2-part answer. It is the new base building components to build in the game that is coming in just cycle 4. Maybe even earlier, but I don't think so. But like we want to add more things for you to do.
Okay.
However, we are working on the entire EveNet team is working on the migration to Sui. That gobbles up basically all of our resources. So we want to support the game that is going on right now. We want to do a successful transition. So there will not be a lot of new builder functionalities until after March because we're so focused on being able to have a successful migration. But everything we're doing though, like components wise, like a larger printer or a sensor that picks up information or the billboard stuff, we're trying to get that into the game agnostic of all the builder capabilities, if that makes sense.
answer
That's cycle 4, maybe even earlier.
Okay. That answer works perfectly going into our last basic 2-part question here. This one was saying they want to know how many programmers does this project have? In other words, as far as team size, resource allocation. Obviously, you guys just brought over the Sui team, so you guys have that whole team now working as well, and they want to know about the marketing push for Frontiers.
What is the question? Just to understand. So what is the question? Like what
the question they want to know how big is the team, the programmers, and that in reference to resource allocation between the teams.
So the team
within Frontier?
Yeah, everyone working on the project of eFrontier. They want to know, is it a small team? Because they said that sometimes they say that this feels eFrontier seems more of a side project of CCP. Then some people are saying that they feel that this because it feels like a side project that I can get the axe at any time by CCP in general. But that's why they were trying to get their fears assuaded by that.
So I don't want to go into specific numbers, and like I just want to have a good reasoning to, and I'm not trying to hide things. It's just what I can say is that this is a separately funded project. We have fucking kick-ass engineers, front-end engineers, back-end engineers, infrastructure engineers, all sorts of things. But it's a lot more than just engineers that are needed to do a game. You have UI, UX designers, you have QA, you have production to align it all differently, you have product management, you have analytics, you have data engineering, you have game designers, you have
audio art,
audio designers, you have 3D artists, you have I can go on. So you need a lot of different people with different skill set in order to create a game. It's like a software meets Hollywood film production type of things that are needed. My job is to make sure we are funded, make sure that we have the best people working on it, and I am very proud of the eFrontier team. And we are not just a sidecar at CCP, and it's not just a project that would be turned off randomly or whatever. We are separately funded, and we have a good thing going. That I will say.
Okay. that was actually the last question. I want to thank both of you guys for joining me today. And I am, I know myself, I'm fully committed to the project. I am really excited for seeing what's coming in the future. Like, I can't wait till cycle 4. I know we don't have a lot of stuff coming in cycle 3. I mean, we have the endless automation that I'm looking forward to trying out. The definitely the test with the WASD controls. As soon as I get off the phone with you, call with you, I'm going to jump into this live event and see if I can find out any information about that. But I'm very excited for what we have looming on the horizon through cycle 4 and 5 with the clones and even the speculative stuff about the cracking the asteroids open, which I know it's a far future next year, and it's only in its conceptual phase. But I'm loving the fact that it is the game itself is differentiated itself from EVE Online. It's not just EVE Online with a new skin, as some people have referred to it. I just like how it's creating its own identity and its own ecosystem.
And it will be even more over time. Like that, I am 100% confident about. And thank you for hosting us here. It's been awesome. The great questions. And they
really good questions
for Frontier as well.
Yeah, really good.
Probably going to reach out to you guys again in a future cycle. We'll gather more, once we're deeper into other cycles and get more feedback from the community.
Should we just do this in the beginning of next cycle?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We can do that. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, guys, thank you for joining me again. You guys have a great day. And
Have a good day.
For everyone that's viewing this channel, have a great weekend. Have a great week. Remember, we are always on this channel, one vision.
Don't forget to subscribe to Daemonxel. Ring the bell so you get the updates.
If you like the content you're seeing, please remember to smash that follow button.
Yes.
Yeah.
And on this channel, we are always one vision, one purpose, one front. I'll see you guys in the next video.
Ha 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 ha!